Every single successful entrepreneur I've ever met, all of them that are more successful than me, that are at a higher level than me, they take action with massive speed. If you choose every single day to be somebody who takes action, then your actual reality is going to shift. If you label yourself as that, that becomes who you are. That becomes your identity because you believe it. Embodied CEOs don't chase trends. They pave the way. They lead from within, moved by purpose, unshaken by noise. When you are the source, you do not need permission. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you guys are having an amazing week. We're heading into March soon. It was the Lunar New Year this last week, and I definitely felt the energy shift. I seriously did. Like that day, I was like, something is different. I'm pretty into that stuff, but I'm not like an expert. So I know it's the year of the fire horse. I know high level what that means, and I'm here for it, but I'm not like obsessed with it or super passionate about it. But anyways, it's been an incredible last few weeks in my company, and I'm just like so excited to bring a lot of the strategies and shifts and realizations and changes, and I keep getting like confirmation that this is the right path. We made those shifts to our offers. We're trying some new marketing strategies that are just blowing things out of the water. And that's exciting because I get to bring that to our clients and bring that to you guys in content and what we're doing and what's actually working. But we are experiencing really exciting growth. And I feel like the shift that I made, it's like puzzle pieces just kind of clicked into place, and it was exactly what I've needed to do for a while, and is the unlock to 8 figures. Like I can feel it, and not only feel it, like it's happening. So then I was on, I'm in a mastermind. I'm in a peer mastermind with business owners all the way up to 8 figures, like very successful business owners. And so we have a monthly call, and everybody kind of just shares what's working, or they ask for help on different things. And it was just super confirming the changes that I made in terms of really big players and what they're seeing in the programs and digital courses and coaching industry. And they actually were like leaning on me for what I'm doing and potentially how to also shift, in their offers, because it really is what I think the direction is. So I think like two or three podcasts ago, I did just a podcast on that. If you want to go back and listen to that. I am super excited to be welcoming some incredible entrepreneurs into this round of the mastermind. And I feel like the theme, every mastermind kind of has a theme. The last mastermind's theme was a lot of them needed to get out of the day-to-day of their business and build systems and build a team, like truly build a team, get themselves out of the doing. That was the theme. I don't know what the theme is yet for this mastermind, but I do think that a lot of people are going to be in that like fresh business model state. I don't know, maybe not, but I will be helping anyone who needs that with that in the mastermind. So if you are interested in that, if you go to embodiedmarketing.com/CEO, this is me for 6 months, me every single week, texting access to me, one-on-one strategy calls with me. It is the only way to work personally with me. And we touch on, it's highly strategic. We touch on everything from your offer to your business model, to your marketing strategy, to team, to operations. Like you get my entire wealth of knowledge of building my multiple 7-figure business, working behind the scenes of all the clients that we've supported for 6 months in your business. So I have got a few spots left. We're closing the doors soon. We're kicking it off. But there is still time to get that application in if you're interested. Okay, so today's episode, I wanted to talk about, I was asked a question. So we had our last mastermind call from this round, and we had a little extra time at the end after everyone got their hot seat, and it was the last one. And so I was like, ask me questions, guys. Like, let's just have a strategic conversation. And so the questions started flowing out. And one of the questions that one of the girls asked was, I'm in a high-level mastermind. I'm in a mastermind with really, really successful entrepreneurs who I look up to. And I think it's really important to put yourself in a room with people who challenge your perspective and are playing bigger and thinking bigger than you, because it's really easy to get stuck in like, this is it, or like you're the biggest thinker, especially when you get to a certain level. Like for me, most of the people that I surround myself with, friends, family, my kids' friends, parents, like most of the people, to them, I am like this, I'm thinking so big, right? Like I am this kind of, I don't want to say inspiration because it sounds like I'm trying to make myself sound good, but you know what I mean? It's important to be around people that you feel that way about and not just you be that person. It's great to be that person, and I love that. I am that person for a lot of people in my like circle, but I also like to be challenged. And so I'm in a mastermind with a lot of the business owners at a higher level than me on purpose. And so one of the girls asked me, out of my mastermind, they asked me what's the one, but I'm going to bring three. What is the one thing that separates those business owners from others? And like, what is it that they do consistently, like that they all have in common, all the successful entrepreneurs, that they do that, others don't, or others haven't figured out? And she asked me what's the one thing they all have in common, but I have three. The first one, and it's not going to surprise you, but it's like they do this better than anyone else. And I think this is such a huge trait to entrepreneurship and success in entrepreneurship is speed to action. Like every single successful entrepreneur I've ever met, all of them that are more successful than me, that are at a higher level than me, they take action with massive speed. Now, it doesn't mean it's chaotic, and I think that's a difference. Like you have to be clear what the action is, and then as soon as you are clear, like you are all over it. You want it yesterday, you want it now, and you're going to make it happen no matter what. And, everybody has different pasts and different beliefs and ways that they've, grown up, and strengths and weaknesses. This is something that you can teach yourself. And there was one of the girls in the mastermind who struggles with this. She struggles with taking action. She struggles with kind of overthinking and perfection. And I think that almost like if you are like that, you kind of label yourself as like, oh, I'm somebody who struggles to take action. And the problem is if you label yourself as that, that becomes who you are. That becomes your identity because you believe it. And you're like, oh, I am somebody who struggles to take action. And so therefore I'm going to struggle to take action. If you choose every single day to be somebody who takes action, then your actual reality is going to shift. And the thing is, and we had a separate conversation later on because we had a one-on-one, and I was like, this can change. You have to build the confidence and you have to reteach yourself. Like probably if you're somebody who doesn't take action, it's because somewhere along the line, you learned that in order to stay safe, you needed to overthink and you needed to analyze and you needed to be sure. And you needed to like have all of these precautions in place and guarantees before you took action to stay safe. And your nervous system actually thinks it's to keep you alive. Somewhere along the way, as like you were a kid, you adopted this and you believe that you must do this to survive. You have to teach yourself that this is not how you have to do it. You have to teach yourself that it is safe to take radical action imperfectly, messily, mess up, and not do everything like perfectly overthought and in this, like everything's built. I always say like you're building the plane as you fly it to an extent. I think I do this too far to one side and I'm working on it. But anyways, the way you become a radical action taker is you take radical action and you have to almost, I want to say force yourself. I don't like the word force. Hold yourself accountable. Sit in the discomfort of doing that enough times that you build the confidence and you retrain your brain and you retrain your nervous system that it's safe to do this. And so when I was talking to this girl in my mastermind and coaching her, I said, this is it's going to sound so simple, but it comes down to you every single week, every single day, asking yourself, what's the action I'm taking? And you've got to do less of the, I'm planning and I'm preparing and I'm organizing type of stuff, because you're going to want to do that. That feels comfortable to you. That feels safe. That feels comfortable. And more of the actual taking radical action. So if you are somebody who struggles with taking radical action, you don't have to be that way forever. This is something you can teach yourself how to do. But you have to become committed to it every day. It's a daily thing because you're going to have to retrain yourself that it is okay to do this, and you're going to have to build confidence in actually doing it. So that's the first thing that every successful entrepreneur has in common: speed to action. Speed to action once they're clear. And that is also something I've had to learn over the years, is like, I'm a massive action taker, and I've always been this way since I was a kid. Since I was a kid, if I wanted something, like as soon as my mind was set on it, I wanted it yesterday. It's all I could focus on. I was going to do whatever it took to make it a reality. I drove my parents crazy. And I know this because my kids are like this. And I love it about them because I see that this is such a great trait. But I had to learn over the years that chaotic action is also not productive. And there are moments that it's appropriate in business and necessary to pause, to get clear, and then to take action. And one of the other girls asked me, like, you take such fast action, like, how do you know? How do you know when it's time to take action? And I thought about it, and I said, it's when I'm clear. It's when I'm clear that either something we were doing isn't working, and I have a better way that I want to do it, or I see a pathway to getting where I want to go that's different. And as soon as I'm now out of alignment with either how we were doing something or not doing something, I can't stay in that place. Like, it is physically uncomfortable for me to not take the action and get it into place. I can't even describe it. Like, I actually feel this like restless until I'm able to go and take the action once I'm clear. Once I'm clear, though, if I am in a state of overwhelm and unclear and weighing different decisions and feeling that chaos, then what I will do is I will pause. I will usually like journal or get out, like, here's all the things. Let's get back to what's the problem I'm trying to solve. What are the ideas I have around solving it? And then I'll usually get feedback, whether that's feedback from my team or a mentor or a friend. I like to verbally process. For me, that helps a lot. So if I can talk through things, and usually I can get myself to that clarity. So that is the first thing that every successful entrepreneur has in common: speed to action. The next thing that I said was, all of them are willing to take risks and are radically reinvesting in their business. When I look at all of these guys, and this is where they inspire me, is like, they're spending a lot of money on paid ads. They are spending a lot of money on growing their audience, on growing their list, on getting volume into their business. Now, obviously they have a proven offer and they have, strategies that work. But I've thought this all the way back to like when I was in Russell Brunson's inner circle. They play a numbers game that is so far removed from emotion and fear. It is like data. It is, they spend this much to make this much, and they're not afraid to scale it, where it's challenging to do that. When you get to a level where you're spending, $100,000, $200,000 a month on ads, that a lot of people experience the fear of what if something happens and that doesn't pay off, which is valid, right? It's a lot of cash flow going out. But when you can get to the point of seeing investing in your business as the data and as the numbers, and obviously doing it smart, like the ROI should pay off. Is it always going to pay off though? No. Like, when you're playing that level, you're going to have losses. You are absolutely going to have losses, and you have to be okay with that. And so I think that really successful entrepreneurs at a very high level doing big numbers have learned how to separate the emotion from the numbers and from the data, and not operate from a place of fear. And I saw this, I used to, a long time ago, before he was super cool, hang out with Alex Hermosi when he lived in Austin. And this is something he did really well. It was just a math equation. It was like, if I want this, then I have to spend this, and I have to get this, and I have to do this. And I definitely think that I think that way. But if you were to say like, hey, spend $100,000 on ads next month, I mean, it would be scary. If I knew it would pay off, I would do it. But I don't have my strategy to that level of like scaling. We just had a client who spent $1 million in 3 weeks on ads to make $7 million, but he had to front that $1 million to make the 7 million. And it's a repeated annual strategy that he was repeating. But again, fear is not driving them. They are not allowing fear to make their decisions. Strategy, data, I think some intuition is always in there, whether you recognize it or not, but they're not afraid of that. And I see this a lot in entrepreneurs, is like fear holds them back because the newness of investing in something that you haven't invested in before, mastermind, whatever, is so scary to people that they never do it. And I mean, everybody successful that I have been around has hired and paid a lot to mentors, a lot. Masterminds, hiring support, ads, and they're not afraid to do that because they know they'll make the investment back. Sure, they're going to have losses, but I don't even think that they see it as losses because they see it as, it taught me a lesson. It gave me what I needed. It taught me that I won't do this or I'll do this in the future. So that's the next thing, that it's just, if you've ever been around like an 8-figure business owner, the way that they speak about business numbers and investing is so much more rooted in data and logic and just very grounded. And I think that is a skill that you learn. Some people are probably naturally better at it than others, but I think it's a skill that you have to learn through the confidence of doing it and showing yourself that you trust yourself. Like ultimately it comes down to that too. Like, do you trust yourself to be okay no matter what? So that's the second thing. The last thing that they all have in common is they are consistently reinventing, not even reinventing themselves. They're consistently redefining their role because they are growing at such a rapid pace that they're constantly trying to say, like, how can I get this off my plate? How can I get this off my plate? They value their time and energy as the most important asset. And they are willing to invest in support quickly, as fast as possible. They understand that buying back their time and energy is such a leverage that they are trying to do that as fast as they possibly can. And consistently redefining their role. Because that's the thing, like if your role as a CEO is the same as it was a year ago, your company is probably in the same spot. Aside from having to do things like content, and that stays, but honestly that should be evolving, how you show up and do content, right? If you're doing the same things you were a year ago, if your role as a CEO is exactly the same as it was a year ago and you're spending your days exactly the same, your company hasn't grown. Probably because of that, right? You have to start acting like the CEO of your future company before you can get there, meaning you have to have that value on your own time and energy way more than you do probably right now. And figure out, how do I get the things I have on my plate off my plate as fast as possible? I said this to another girl in the mastermind. I said, I want you to become like relentless with getting things off your plate. Like become so obsessed with how do you clear up your entire day? Because you're not going to be able to clear up your entire day. But if you make that the goal, you're going to be able to clear up a lot of it. Like, what help do you need? What systems do you need? Who do you need to bring on? I want you to become so obsessed with this, because then you're going to buy back your time, and then you're going to be able to put that time into business growth. And when I look at all of these successful entrepreneurs, like they value their time and energy to the utmost level. And when you value your time and energy, you're not going to waste your time and energy doing things that you shouldn't be doing, that aren't the highest leverage. And I think there's an element of this whereas people start to do this, they're like, well, who am I, right, to value my time and energy more than my employee? You chose this path, whether you chose it or not, right? This path is yours of an entrepreneur. And if you want to take this path of an entrepreneur and you want to grow your business, let's even just say to 7 figures. Because that's the thing, to get from 6 to 7 figures, like it has to happen. Then you have to understand that by not valuing your time and energy, it's not like you're going to sit around and take naps all day. I highly doubt that. You're going to put your time and energy into the most leveraged place, which grows the business, which grows the impact, which helps everybody, the employees, the people you serve, your customers, your family. So it is actually the opposite of selfish to highly value your time and energy and to only be willing to put it into the highest leverage tasks and the highest leverage places. And that it is not selfish or stuck up or I'm better than anyone energy at all. It is, I owe this to the people around me because this is the only way that I can be the best version of me. But also all these people are looking to you for growth. Like no one's going to grow my company like I am. And if I am spending my time in the day to day, I can't grow my company. And so who does that hurt? Yeah, me, but also my employees, our clients, the people I could potentially impact. So when I look at successful people, they're obsessed with this. They are so unapologetic with this and not in an I'm better than everyone way. Like that's an entrepreneur with an ego. In a, I'm here to have a huge impact and I'm here to do really big things and serve a lot of people. And in order to do that, I have to consistently be putting my time into the highest leverage places. So those are the 3 things that I would say every successful entrepreneur has in common. And they're all things you can teach yourself. That's the thing. Like, it's not luck. I do think there's a personality trait as an entrepreneur, and some of these things come more natural, to others. But you can teach yourself this and you can improve on all 3 of these things and step into that identity more than you are today. All right, everybody. I hope you got some golden nuggets from this episode, some things that you're going to shift in how you show up in your business. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.